Welcome to the first edition of the Civic Forum. My name is Claude Kellum. This is the first of a series of programs designed to give civic associations an opportunity to communicate to a broader audience. Tonight, my guests are Mrs. Marion Stewart, Director of the Civic League for Newcastle County, and Mr. Robert S. Weiner, Zoning Chairman for the Council of Civic Organizations for Brandywine 100. Also, later, Mr. Mark Brunswick, Executive Member of CAP, Citizens Against the Prison Site. Ms. Stewart, I'll start with you. And good evening, thank you for coming.
Pleased to be here.
Thank you. The Civic League for Newcastle County. What is its purpose and what is its makeup?
It's a group formed of individuals, businesses, nonprofit groups, especially civic associations, which was formed in 1962 because people were so concerned about the levy court, an inadequate form of county government, no planning, precious little zoning, all kinds of county problems. And we thought, we have to do something. Our motto was informed citizens for sound county growth. It sounds rather strange, a little pretentious, but that county was growing like topsy and nobody had any control whatever. So we thought we could at least be a citizen group encouraging good government and better planning for the future of Newcastle County. And I think we've made a difference.
Thank you. Well, how does a civic association join the league, and are there dues?
There are dues. For individuals or civic associations, it's $15 a year. For businesses, it's a little more depending on the size of the business. To join us, call us up. My phone number is 762-0822. Call up and say, we're interested. Will you send me some information? And I'll be only too glad to do that. And we have a little brochure that I can send out and a membership form, and anyone's welcome to join the Civic League. We're always happy to have new members.
Okay. Do you encourage groups living in a common environment to form a civic association and also to join the league?
Oh, absolutely. Usually you'll find civic associations in new communities. Here are all these people in just built houses, or all these people in older houses that have just moved into a community that's new to them, and they have common problems like drainage, or we'd like a street light, or we'd just like to get to know our neighbors, and let's have some Easter egg hunts for the children, or let's do something. And our experienced chairman can help groups organize and form so that the group is doing what its people want. It doesn't have to be a carbon of some other group down the road a piece. It can do whatever its own people want that group to do. And we would encourage groups to join the Civic League just so that they can keep in touch with each other. One of the ways we help groups keep in touch is our civic association list. We know of over 300 groups within this county, and sometimes we can help you get in touch with some other group that's not too far away from you, so that when you have a zoning problem, 6 dozen groups can all descend on county council at once, and you can be much more effective when you're working together. And we can help put you in touch with other civic associations.
Okay, that's good. So you're supportive of other groups, regardless of their size and regardless of...
Oh, sure. One thing we can do is help you find out about the processes of county government. I mean, even if we actively disagree with what you're trying to accomplish, we'll help you through the red tape.
Yes. Do you think that most people are unaware of the goings-on of county council until they do have a problem?
Most people don't pay too close attention. I mean, we've been telling people, read the Saturday legal notices, come to county council sometime before you have a problem, find out how the group operates and how zoning and planning work. before you have a problem. Then if you ever do have a problem, which we'd just as soon you didn't, why, you won't have to learn what county is all about at the same time that you're trying to fight your particular case. Besides, it's more interesting. It is such fun. It's the second best show in town, and the first best is the General Assembly. So it's not dull.
Okay, but when and where does the Newcastle County Civic League meet?
We meet in the Newcastle County Police Headquarters. That's not very far from this television studio on Route 13 in Minquadale. It's 3601 North DuPont Highway. We meet on the third Tuesday of each month at 7:30 in the evening. And we would be very pleased to have people come to our meetings. They're open to the public, and we're glad to have people come. Our next meeting will be June 20th, and then we take a break for the summer and meet again in September.
Okay, thank you. Let's not we forget about Mr. Weiner here. We're so interested in your conversation. Mr. Weiner, you are the zoning chairman of the Council of Civic Organizations of Brandywine 100. What is the purpose of the council, and what does a zoning chairman do?
Well, the Council of Civic Organizations of Brandywine 100, that's a long mouthful, known shortly as the CCOBH, or Brandywine Council, is an umbrella group of over 100 civic associations in the area of Newcastle County known as Brandywine 100. It's roughly bordered by the Delaware River, the Brandywine River, the city of Wilmington, and the Pennsylvania state line. The group is about 40 years old. It's important that people understand that you need both a civic league, which covers the entire Newcastle County, and then you need umbrella groups that focus on the smaller areas. And when they all network together, a group like Brandywine Council having an interest in our particular area, but there are countywide issues where we need the expertise of a civic league, or statewide issues which affect us all in land use matters, where we need the expertise of civic league. So in my civic association, I make sure that we're members of both the Brandywine Council and the Civic League for Newcastle County, and I would encourage other civic associations wherever they are in Newcastle County to do the same. We meet regularly as well to take up matters concerning land use in the Brandywine 100 area, but we also network with other umbrella groups under the aegis and organizational skills of the Civic League.
If there are groups in a common area, civic association in a common area, do you suggest that they form umbrella groups?
I not only think they ought to look into it, I think it's a must. Unless they get together for the common good, they'll find that they won't be able to deal with the various matters. If they're simply myopic to look at their own little area as all that matters, they won't realize that they're a part of a larger community. And by working together, not only can you affect change on the local government, but you can also cause change in a state government, because there are statewide decisions being made that affect us locally as well.
I see. What should a civic association or a group do if they learn of a zoning change that adversely affects their neighborhood?
All right, well, how one might hear about it. Hopefully they haven't heard about it when they're reading about it in the paper that it's coming up to county council the next day, because then it's too late. Hopefully they don't hear about it when they see the bulldozers already beginning to dig, because then it's too late. They've got to be ever vigilant. They've got to be checking the Saturday legals, as Marion Stewart said. You've got to learn how to read those little lines that appear in the fourth section of the Saturday News Journal, and learn what it means, the difference between a Board of Adjustment or a Subdivision Advisory Committee or a County Council meeting, because each one of those has significance in affecting you. Nothing is more impact on people than land use decisions, and those land use decisions are being made every day.
Well, should we wait till we have a problem to learn about these particular agencies, or should we go ahead and learn about them now? How can we?
Well, Claude, as you know, all three of us have attended educational seminars that we've all been part of organizing. We try to learn about how the system works. At the present time, the Brandywine Council has organized an educational series called Zoning 101, or tongue-in-cheek, we call it How to Become a Suburban Guerrilla. What we're trying to do is to develop people to become community leaders. to understand how the system works, and to teach him how to responsibly input into the system, to find out which buttons to push, and to do it in a way that you'll make a meaningful difference. Simply to stand up and to scream emotionally, you get dismissed and discounted. You've got to learn to input in a responsible way into this decision-making process.
Well, you've got to know how to ask the right questions.
Yes, you do.
Yes. Okay. In light of the corruption investigations, should civic associations continue to lobby in county council, or should they feel discouraged?
You know, we've been told that the Brandywine Council's efforts from time to time have been successful, not because of the logic that we've built up, or not because of our organizational skills, but simply because of the backroom politics that are going on behind the scenes that we don't know anything about. I would like to still think that what we do makes a difference, and I would encourage anyone out there to disregard these particular concerns and to proceed as if what you're doing on a logical basis makes a difference. Hopefully, if there is any corruption, and we have to presume innocence until guilt is proven,
Yes.
If there is corruption, it will be routed out, and the system will continue to work as it should.
That's very good.
There's another angle. It isn't your logical, beautiful arguments, I'm sorry to say. It's the number of people you can bring to county council. One of the reasons that the Brandywine Council is so very effective was the 800 people who descended on county council on a particularly hot rezoning.
The Rollins rezoning for the raceway. I'd like to think, Marion, that it's a combination of both. Let me live in my dream world that it's a combination of both having proper logic to present to members of county council, as well as having showing that people are politically organized. I think the bottom line is the people that serve on county council are sensitive to their constituents' issues. They want to reflect their constituents' issues, if for no other reason that they'd like to continue to be reelected. But on a higher plane, they'd like to do the right thing. Having both a logical argument to present to them and showing the masses are behind you, I think presents the full focus and allows you to maximize your potential.
Well, do you think that when a problem does happen where you do have to go to county council and try to persuade county council, do you think it makes you come more politically aware?
Oh yes, you have to understand that you've got to play by the rules of the game, just like the developers are. They're also spending time paying lobbyists to lobby. You've got to become as sophisticated as they are. You've got to be a lobbyist, you've got to be a planner, you've got to be an engineer, you have to be a traffic engineer, you've got to be an attorney, you have to be all of these things, and the community can rise to that level, but it takes a lot of hard work. And the community only wins when they're better prepared than those that are being privately retained.
Okay, these are particular terms that come up: infrastructure and support facilities and what have you. Do you suggest that we go to the Newcastle County and get and purchase the books and the literature in order to learn these?
The books are available in any of the libraries throughout our county. You can also purchase the books for $50, I believe, from the planning department.
That's the newest comprehensive plan document.
You need a zoning code, you need the comprehensive plan, and then you need the annual summary.
And you also need a map, the zoning map of your particular area. If you don't know how it's zoned now, you may be in an awkward position when somebody wants a rezoning, because you want to be able to say, this is not compatible with the current zoning of the area, this area is residential, and you want to plop down this pig farm, we object. Whereas if the neighborhood is full of pig farms, you're not in a good position to say this is not compatible. So you really want the zoning map. You don't have to buy it, but you do have to go down and look at it if you don't already own it.
You need to analyze any particular rezoning on how it is affected by the comprehensive plan. If it's an amendment, then the applicant has the burden of proof to show that the change will be made. When the Brandywine Council approaches a rezoning, we look first to see whether it's appropriate land use. Then we set that issue aside. Is the density too great? Perhaps it's appropriate land use, but the density is too great. Perhaps it's the appropriate land use and the density is okay, but the timing of the project is not right. So if you have those three levels of analysis, you can begin to approach things in a more methodical way.
And if something is located in a floodplain, good land use planning says don't build in it. Now, if we could just convince county council of that, we'd be home free. But there are, if you have a water problem, you can't build houses if there isn't any water. So you want to pay attention to the Water Resources Agency's recommendation. They're part of the Support Facilities Report. And if the roads are overcrowded now, you will not find the Department of Transportation saying don't build here. I'm sorry to say. They'll just say, oh, we don't make judgments, but here are the numbers. But somebody better make judgments and say this road is overloaded, and if you put another house here, you're out of your cotton picking mind.
Marion has a wealth of knowledge. It would take a lot more than this half hour to pick everything out of her brain that you need to know in this process.
Well, anyway, we would encourage citizens to get involved.
Yes.
And do your homework. Find out about the proposed rezoning just as early in the game as you can find out about it. Go to the planning board hearing as well prepared as you can manage to be and stand up and make your speech. And if everybody else is making the same speech, you don't want to repeat. What you say is, I concur with the previous speaker in taking such and such a position, and then sit down. But you want them to know you're there, and you want to be as prepared as you can manage. And to do that, you really have to go and sit down in the planning department and read the background reports about that rezoning. And you write your letters, and you talk to your council members, and you do everything and one thing you do is alert your neighbors. If you know about it, that's wonderful. Now, do all your neighbors know about it too? And if they don't, tell them. And pass flyers around the street and put up signs in the main entrance to your development so that somebody will know there is a proposed rezoning, and then they too can help.
And as groups are finding, it's important to notify the press.
Oh.
As well.
Oh, and how? For county things, Lisa Pope is very good. For state highway things, Jeff Montgomery. And not just the News Journal, which I do tend to think of first. Write letters to the editor of every little paper. I just recently wrote some letters. I had an article in Town Talk, and I wrote to the Hockessin Community News and the Brandywine Community News and the Whale and Lewis and the Dover Post, and they'll print them or not print them according, but this was a statewide issue, a bill in the General Assembly, which the Civic League actively opposes. It's about highways, and we think it's terrible. And the letters to the editor will be read and noticed, where you'd have to be awfully important to get someone to come to a press conference. But you can be any old body and write a letter to the editor and expect it to get in.
Very good. Any point in the rezoning process, would you advise civic organization or individuals to get legal help?
At times it's necessary, and I would suggest that it depends upon the sophistication of the argument. If you're cutting new ground, or if you anticipate litigation is necessary, you're going to want to be able to make a record. And there are times that you ought to get the second opinion from maybe more experienced umbrella groups. You may want to speak to someone in the Brandywine Council or the Civic League to get a feeling upon whether or not legal counsel might be necessary. But there are some attorneys who have developed an expertise representing umbrella groups, and they're ready to be called on.
There are sometimes volunteer lawyers who are willing to help out.
Yes.
For the sheer kindness of their hearts. There are others who expect to be paid, and you will want to make clear which you're talking about. But when you're up against a very experienced developer with a very good lawyer, you're really better off with a lawyer.
Yes.
Regret.
Good. Where can we find a list of these lawyers?
Well,
Bob, do you know?
I don't want to go touting the name
Well,
of any
not
particular
in
attorneys
particular,
now.
but
You really need to talk to other umbrella groups who have been involved in litigation before. I just wanted to say to Marion, now, maybe with Brandywine Council experience a little bit differently, we've only, in most rezonings, unless we go into litigation, we've represented ourselves, but we've spent 40 years now building up a base of people, many of whom are attorneys and engineers, so we may have a little more expertise than some of the other groups in that area. And I do see a lot of the groups representing themselves, and to a certain extent, Marion, if they have the sophistication, you may appeal to members of county council who may feel that they may listen a little bit more carefully if they feel it's you yourself representing yourself. I don't know whether that argument counts or not.
Fair Winds, of course, is one I think of. They have had bake sales and yard sales and everything over the years because they have had about 11, 12 years of one zoning problem after another. And they have just had a regular lawyer who serves them and...
Has he been effective?
Oh, I mean, they've had things taken to the Superior Court and the Supreme. I mean, it isn't just the rezonings, it's the court cases. I mean, you may be able to fight your own rezoning. There is no way you can appear in Superior Court without an attorney. And they have had people turned down for a rezoning in county council or who then appealed to the court, and then a decision in the Superior Court that was appealed to the Supreme Court. I mean, poor souls, they have really had a horrible time, and they have been valiant in protecting their community, but they've done it with the lawyer's help.
Yes.
And he's been very kind about waiting for payment until the next set of bake sales.
Okay. In particular in the rezoning process, when we get to the Board of Adjustments level, is it necessary to have an attorney?
Again, I think it's the same argument. If your group has a certain level of sophistication and experience, then you can capably represent yourself. If your group does not have that level of experience, and it is going to be a particularly intricate legal argument being involved, then I would recommend that you get an attorney.
Yes, I see.
And this is an attorney speaking. I am an attorney, and many of our members are, but we still go out and retain attorneys because we're doing this as a volunteer basis. This is not what I do for a career. And I know when Phil Cloutier, who's now president of county council, was in our group as well, we may have used our legal skills, but when it came to suing the state of Delaware and DelDOT, we retained an attorney.
I see. Newcastle County is an awful large county. Should I be concerned? I live in northern Newcastle County. What happens in southern Newcastle County?
Of course you should. No man is an island entire of itself. For whom the bell tolls, it tolls for me. I mean, you pay attention to anything in this world just because other people are human. Now, it's not necessarily going to affect you as directly as something right next door, but as a citizen, I would encourage you to pay attention.
Now, if you have a problem and you live in southern Newcastle County, you may think that I don't need to deal with northern Newcastle County, but I'll tell you what, when you all network together and take a common position, when each of us are supporting the other and we all go to lobby together as a group, we're going to be so much more effective.
Let's see. Okay, well, in summary, we're gonna break down summary of upstart civic associations and groups. Who should we go to for advice? How to get established?
I would say come to the Civic League. I will refer you to Fritz Griesinger, who is our chairman for Civic Association Assistance. Fritz is the greatest. I mean, I'm sure Bob has many other people to recommend whom he would consider the greatest. I think Fritz is marvelous. He is very good at helping groups get organized so that they can do what they want to accomplish. And sometimes that doesn't even mean organizing. You don't always have to organize, but usually you're much better off. So I would say give me a call, 762-0822. I will call Fritz for you, and he will set up a meeting as pleases you, and he can help lead you through the process of getting organized.
Okay. I will, at the end of the show, or while we break, I will try to put that phone number up so that they'll know who to call.